Let's check the feed real quick. We should be good to go. All right, Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, I'm back at you with another live lesson. Through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. All right, I pray that this lesson is edifying. I want to get into this. The topic here is he will spare to do thee hurt and put thee in prison. All right, this is a scripture from Sirach chapter 13 and 12, which we'll get to in a second here. Okay, but as you see here, all right, Trump's concentration camps built incinerators. All right, so a literal fiery furnace. You know, it's not this man Trump, the cruel king. You know, this is Isaiah 19:4, because yes, he is. All right, Isaiah 19:4. It says, "And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord." That's him. "And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah of hosts." All right. This is Acts 14. All right, Acts 14 and verse 22. It says, "Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushai." Right? Let's hit this word for tribulation. Okay. Through much tribulation is how we're going to enter into the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. All right.
Strong's G 2347. Thlipsis.
That's the word for tribulation. A pressing together, pressure. All right. A pressure is coming. All right. Metaphorically, oppression, affliction, tribulation, distress, straits. All right. It says anguish, burden, persecution, tribulation, trouble. All right. This is the time of trouble. This is the time of tribulation. Right. Let's go back. So when I saw this come across my feed, you know, immediately I thought, you know, this is the time of the trials and tribulation. You know, ultimately being tested for our faith, man. All right, so let's get into this. I got a few scriptures and we'll wrap this up. Again, Trump's concentration camps built incinerators. All right, a literal fiery furnace. It's all spiritual.
So the other week on the show, we talked about how they are currently building a bunch of former warehouses that they're retrofitting to become ICE concentration camps. Okay. I believe the number we came across in the articles we read, it was 23 different former warehouses that are becoming concentration camps. NPR even reported on one of these places where it's like the town storage facility and the federal government is just taking it. They're just stealing it. And they're going, "This is ours now." And they're going to turn that into a concentration camp. And the town is like, "Wait, excuse me? What? What are you talking about? What are you going to do?" That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. Well, apparently Migrant Insider has this new article out, and Pablo Reports, the Twitter account, he does phenomenal work on this. It's his reporting. And there's this other mechanism that they're using by which they're basically increasing the funding massively. So they have this colossal budget to build out these like ghost concentration camps around the country. Now, this should scare everybody to fucking death, okay? We already know this regime sent people to CICOT in El Salvador. Well, guess what? There's detailed reporting. People were raped and tortured there. They were raped and tortured. They were so desperate, they cut their hands, were bleeding, and would write messages into their sheet on their sheets with the blood from their hand. This is a nightmare. This is an absolute nightmare, what we're talking about. Not only that, They also had Alligator Alcatraz, which many people I think were correctly calling Alligator Auschwitz. Now, I believe that was eventually shut down by the courts, but it was, this big, long legal battle. And about 4,000 immigrants are missing after being sent to Alligator Auschwitz. 4,000. 4,000. And nobody even talks about that. Nobody even talks about that. I'm sorry. That is disgusting in the sense that our media is not doing their job and our Democratic politicians are not doing their job. If you're not, 4,000 people went missing at a place where they bragged about the brutality and the sadism of it. The whole point of Alligator Alcatraz was to be sadistic. Every time it rained, the place would flood. Okay? Just the same as all these other places. Moldy bread, fucking food with worms in it. You don't get taken to get your medicine if you have healthcare needs. They don't take you to the hospital when you're sick. Okay? People getting all sorts of diseases in there because it's unsanitary conditions. And nobody even talks about this. Okay?
Yeah, again, as we read in Isaiah 19, this is the cruel Lord. All right, a cruel king shall rule over them. All right, of course, this shit is not going to go. It's not going to go reported. All right, it's a lot of dirtbag shit that's been going on behind the scenes. This is why we've been all over this exposure that's been coming out against these Edomites. All right, everything, the darkness, the witchcraft, all of that, man. There's so much going on that Esau is being revealed on. So this is definitely, again, this is a time of great trial, man. Okay.
But this gets even darker. I know you're going, hold on, Kyle. How can it get darker than literal concentration camps? Oh, it can. Oh, it can. And it's going to. I hope you're ready. Here we go. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators. Incinerators. So in the reporting on this from Migrant Insider, again, I'll read this for you one more time. In fact, here, I'll click it and make it bigger. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators and certified inventory of evidence reports for full service laundry operations. In other words, in Trump's network of concentration camps, they're building incinerators. 4,000 people are missing from ICE custody. Lawyers can't find.
And real quick, who's to say that these incinerators that they're building, right? Who's to say they're only going to use them for dead bodies? Who's to say they won't use live people in that shit? Remember, this is a man that's of no mercy, right? Just thinking out loud. The scriptures call him the what? The wicked and violent man. This is Psalm 140. Okay. Because obviously, as we see now, they don't abide by the rules, by the laws. All right. So these camps are being built up all across the country. They spent, millions of dollars to get them set up. All right. And they try to, the smoke screen was, the immigration thing that's going on. No, this is for the tribes, man. Really, this is for all that oppose this man's power. The rebellion that's coming down upon this system. All right, they're getting ready to round up everybody, man. This is why they created the Palantir, the Gideon. All right, they got the AI to search people out and track you down. The global surveillance. All right, they're ready to roll. This is part of the wrath in Revelation 12. All right, because this devil knows that he has nothing but a short time. Woe unto the earth, end of the sea. Psalm 140:1. And it reads, it says, deliver me, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, from the evil man, preserve me from the violent man. See, this is Esau, Edom. Verse 2, which imagine mischiefs in their heart, in their mind. All right, in this man's mind, he's always thinking of ways to destroy you. All right, hence it says that in let me get that to it. I'll come back to that. Proverbs, right? The only thing on his mind is mischief, destruction, death, right? This is Proverbs 4:16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief. You see that? and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. So he can't even properly rest without doing some type of mischief, some type of harm. All right, that's a wicked individual. It's a wicked man. Verse 17. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. All right, this is him. Let's go back. See how it all comes together? All right, back in Psalms 140, in verse 1 again, deliver me, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, from the evil man, preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart and their mind. Continually are they gathered together for war. And he's declared that upon the so-called American people. All right, war has been declared against these Babylonians, man, and they don't even know it. All right, the ICE situations that's going on, the riots, you know, the revealing of these Epstein files, what they do behind the scenes, all right, with the rituals and witchcraft, all of that, man. What they putting in the food, you know, how this system is literally coming down upon its own people. This is war. Right now, we're talking about the concentration camps. They got incinerators built into the camps. Right, he's ready to get rid of people, man. This is war, whether you see it or not. Continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Salah, keep me, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings, right? As we read it, mischief is continually in his mind. All right. The end goal is to what? To get rid of you, to dispose you. Remember, hey, these elites, these technocrats, they're all talking on these platforms. Why? What are they saying? We don't even need humans no more. Okay. AI and robots and shit are taking over jobs. This is what they're saying. Your services are no longer needed. Okay, they call you goyim, useless eaters. Okay, who have proposed to overthrow my goings. The proud have hit a snare for me. Verse 5, Psalms 140 and 5. The proud have hit a snare for me in cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me. Salah, right? And part of those gins and traps as we're watching here, all right, going into these concentration camps that are being built up all over America, which have been in the works, which we have been warning you about, right?
And death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators. Incinerators. So in the reporting on this from Migrant Insider, again, I'll read this for you one more time. In fact, here, I'll click it and make it bigger. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators and certified inventory of evidence reports for full service laundry operations. In other words, in Trump's network of concentration camps, they're building incinerators. 4,000 people are missing from ICE custody. Lawyers can't find them. Family members can't find them. Friends can't find them. There's been at least 40 people who've died in ICE Gestapo custody under Trump's second regime. One of them, there was evidence, was literally lynched, found hanging with his hands tied and his feet tied. And that's just one person. There's horror stories that are beyond imagination. Even other ICE agents have come out. Some of them have retired and resigned from ICE, and they're telling their stories. And they're saying stuff like, look, I'm against undocumented immigration, but this is treating people in a way that is just not, like, you're immoral. You're unethical if you do this thing. This is torture. This is torture. This is taking away their human rights. These are right-wing people who are retiring and going, I've seen this in the history books, if you know what I'm saying. Incinerators in the concentration camps.
Hey, we told y'all for years that this man was going to show his horns, man. All right, this is happening. We are at the end of America, man. All right, in the transition of the NWO. All right, we're actually living in watching this shit happen. You know.
You know what's so crazy to me? It really is true. There's this old saying, I'm going to butcher it here, but to paraphrase it, one person dying is a tragedy. 1 million people dying is a statistic. And I think we're sort of seeing a bit of that in this second Trump regime. It's like one scandal can hold everybody's attention, and it can become a big deal, and things can change as a result of all the pressure that gets put on them over a single scandal. But what is it when you have, I don't know, 35 scandals a week? What is that? Well, then no one scandal can get the same public backlash and outrage and ire, and then nothing changes, right? Is that, I forget what they called it. I want to say it was like rolling thunder or something like that, but Steve Bannon had this strategy of like, flood the zone. Just flood the zone, do 20 things per day that they want to scream about and rip their hair out about, and they're only going to be able to talk about one or two, maybe four of them at most, okay? And that means you get away with double digits. Double-digit scandals you get away with. The corruption. Think about the corruption. How corrupt can one regime be? Well, like every day you get a new story of, some crypto bullshit where they're robbing their own supporters. Some, foreign billionaires buying his token. Again, money laundering scheme effectively. Trump pardoning the guy CZ from Binance who laundered money for Al-Qaeda because CZ is now in business with him and propping Trump up. Okay, never mind the resort in Vietnam, the fucking resort in Qatar, like all these different things, all totally illegal. Never mind his watches, never mind the NFTs, all that, like all totally illegal. But there's so much of it that people just throw their hands up and they go, I'm out. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fucking follow all this? How am I supposed to, like, my outrage meter is broken. It broke. How, like, now it's like nothing can get me outraged because I've seen so many things that are outrageous that, like, what am I supposed to do? Nothing seems to change, right? And that's what they're exploiting in us. They're exploiting that there's so much shit, gonna throw my hands up and go, fuck it, what am I supposed to do? But I don't know, man. Call me old-fashioned. When you start talking about building 23 concentration camps and having incinerators in them, this seems, a level above and beyond almost everything else we've ever talked about.
But see, like you were saying, this is how these elites wanted it, all right? The corruption, the scandals, all these things that are being revealed is just so much. It's so overwhelming. It's like, what are the people going to do? And that's all that contributes to the let me get that too. I was thinking about that the confusion, right? That's what's happening in America, man. The shit that's being publicly exposed, all right, it's just next level, man. All right. And these people, they don't know what the hell to do. All right. Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust. All right. The dust is the confusion. Okay. Everything is happening, man. The exposure, all of that, man. The corruption, the scandals. Okay. This place is being brought down. We're actually living in the midst of the fall. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. See? No more power, no more authority. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, but thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate, right? Because America's headed for war. All right, let's go back. But they want these people confused. All right, scriptures talk about how let me get that one too before we go back. How people will lose faith and confidence in this place. Back in Isaiah 19, right? Exactly, Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. It's going to be civil wars. It's going to be revolts. All right. And these devils, they're pushing for a revolution. They want these people to fight back so they can enforce the martial law, to lock it down, to start put people into these camps, these concentration camps, so they can do away with this current order and establish the new one. Right. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. All right. Verse 3 to point. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. You see that? So that's what's happening now. All right. As he was saying, all this shit that's coming out is so overwhelming. People are just giving up. They don't know what to do. What can they do? Right.
For Al-Qaeda because CZ is now in business with him and propping Trump up. Okay, never mind the resort in Vietnam, the fucking resort in Qatar, like all these different things, all totally illegal. Never mind his watches, never mind the NFTs, all that, like all totally illegal. But there's so much of it that people just throw their hands up and they go, I'm out. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fucking follow all this? How am I supposed to, my outrage meter is broken. It broke. How, now it's like nothing can get me outraged because I've seen so many things that are outrageous that what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, they're how you said the word, desensitizing you. All right. Getting you used to it.
Nothing seems to change. Right. And that's what they're exploiting in us. That's what they're exploiting in us. They're exploiting that there's so much shit, gonna throw my hands up and go, fuck it, what am I supposed to do? But I don't know, man. Call me old-fashioned. When you start talking about building 23 concentration camps and having incinerators in them, this seems, a level above and beyond almost everything else we've ever talked about. Especially because, don't forget that they're not even, originally people thought, oh, it's okay. They're just talking about going after undocumented immigrant violent criminals, or as they call them, illegal alien violent criminals. Well, it turns out that's bullshit, as all the evidence shows. 86% of the people that ICE has taken are not undocumented immigrant violent criminals. And of the...
See? And we said this from day one when this shit started. It was never about so-called, illegal immigrants, it was bigger than that. All right. It's about gathering up everybody, right? Whether you a so-called illegal or not, American, non-American, whether you got a fucking a passport, visa, or whatever. All right. It's all about rounding the people up.
The 14% that potentially are, a lot of them are just accused violent criminals. Only a tiny percentage, maybe 5% or less, are actually convicted violent criminals. So that means all these people are being arrested, being detained, some of them being held for literally months, and they no evidence they did anything wrong whatsoever. In fact, according to the courts, at least 4,400 people, it's way more than that, but according to the courts with ongoing lawsuits, at least 4,400 people are totally innocent of any wrongdoing and being held by ICE. So if you think, oh no, this is their problem. This is somebody else's problem. Is it? Have you ever said anything anti-Trump publicly? Have you? Because if you have, I kind of think it's your problem. Because remember, they now are implementing what's called NSPM 7, which is this mindset approach of the entire government that Trump put into place, where now instead of the intelligence agencies focusing on ISIS or Al-Qaeda or, neo-Nazi groups, right-wing terrorism, whatever, fill in the blank with actual threats. Instead of doing that, they're now considering anti-Americanism is terrorism, or at least terrorist adjacent. Anti-capitalism, same thing. Anti-Christianity, same thing. If you're an extremist on migration or race or gender, you go on a list. If you're protesting ICE or you're an observer of ICE, you go on a list. I don't think you build out 23 concentration camps unless you're planning on warehousing.
See, and this is what we've been saying. All right. He's categorized everybody. All right. They know what your beliefs are, your political views, your so-called religious views, how you feel about the government, how you feel about Trump. All right. Are you speaking out against are you speaking out against the establishment of this beast system? Are you speaking out against the chip? They got everything documented, man. They know who's who. All right. And everybody is under that banner of being so-called anti-American. All right. So you people out there that thought this was just a joke or, we didn't know what the hell we was talking about, you better wake the fuck up, man. All right. Everybody's targeted. Everybody's marked is what he said. And this is what the prophets this is what the prophets told you first. Okay. It's not a game. The trials of our faith are here, man. Okay. They're going to come after everybody. All right. And we're going to have to stand 10 toes down for Yahweh Shemel Washad, man. We're going to have to exercise these scriptures when we're putting these positions in the position of straits, man. All right. When we're amongst these difficult situations. All right.
Is terrorism, or at least terrorist adjacent. Anti-capitalism, same thing. Anti-Christianity, same thing. If you're an extremist on migration or race or gender, you go on a list. If you're protesting ICE or you're an observer of ICE, you go on a list. I don't think you build out 23 concentration camps unless you're planning on warehousing a hell of a lot of people, even just dissidents, people who are a thorn in your side, people who annoy the shit out of you, right? And this is where we are. This is where we are in this country. So it's time to wake up. It is time to wake up. 23 concentration camps, and now they're talking about incinerators, building incinerators and again, Migrant Insider talked about it, and we're talking about it. Good luck finding others who actually bring this up, because I do feel like there's still this thing in some people's minds where they go, that actually can't happen here, right? The fuck it can't. How many things which you would have said 12 years ago, you would have said, there's no way that could happen here. How many of those things did already happened? Think about Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Salaki, I keep stopping and going, but hey, what he's saying is valid. It's facts. All right. Our apostles, elders, and bishops warned us. They were doing videos on these topics 20 years ago, 30 years ago. All right, on how they were building these, they were using these, these what's the word I'm looking for? These storage units and, the Walmarts and shit like that. All of this major construction that was going on. They were building these camps, so they were preparing for this time now, man. All you people that thought this was fake, far-fetched, right? Especially when it came to the wicked sacrifices of these devils, all right? You try to blow it off like people were fucking crazy, right? Now look, it's all being brought forth. All right. But we're gonna continue to trust in the Lord, man. We're gonna continue to trust in Yahweh Shemel Shah as we go through these times, man. All right. The Lord said that he would be with us always, even to the end of the world. And this is where we at.
That actually can't happen here, right? The fuck it can't. How many things which you would have said 12 years ago, you would have said, there's no way that could happen here. How many of those things did already happened? Think about January 6th. Think about the fake elector slate, right? Like, just take that. There was a time, of course, there's no way you're going to try to steal an American election. What are you, insane? No one's going to try to steal an American election. Here we are. The guy did it and fucking got away with it. We have a 91-time criminal. He was charged with 91 crimes, Trump was. 34-time convicted felon. Okay? Pedophile, rapist, war criminal is now leading us. He's leading us. Who would have thought, if I told you that in fucking 2012, that's what's you would have been like, no way. We're not going to arrest a fucking 34-time felon. What are you, insane? Here we are. Here we fucking are.
Man.
Here we are. So it's time to wake up. It's time to realize what's going on here. And it's time to fight back against this stuff, because holy cow, we cannot let this continue. We cannot let this continue. And please, Democrats, wakey. If this doesn't wake you up, I literally don't know what would wake you up, unless you're actually getting shoved into the gas chambers or into the incinerators, as it was. I also wanted to show you guys this, okay? Some of these warehouses, there's now chatter about some of them being specifically for kids. Watch this. Here we go.
Donald Trump and ICE and Homeland Security are building a concentration camp for kids in my backyard. No, I'm not joking. I live in a town called Gainesville, Georgia, and right on the outskirts of Gainesville is a tiny little parcel called Oakwood, Georgia, where ICE is planning on opening a 1,500-person concentration camp for children. The mayor of Oakwood said he had no choice. The federal government pushed this on him, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I've reached out to 7th District Representative Rich McCormick. So to be fair, I haven't heard back from him. I emailed him and said, we need a town hall on this to discuss this, because if this goes through, there will be protests every single day at this facility as they bring immigrant children into this concentration camp. That, by the way, I know this building. It is not built to house human beings. It was built for warehousing. There's a big difference. This is a concentration camp. I can't even believe this is going to be in my backyard. This is a little town in Northeast Georgia. It's not a rich town. It's not a fancy town. It's a little town on a lake. And the people are wonderful. And the hardest working people I know are immigrants. And they're everywhere in this town. They will literally rip this town to pieces the way they tried to rip Minneapolis to pieces. But you know what? Just like the Minnesotans, we will fight back. ICE, stay out of Georgia. If you don't, you're going to regret it, because the videos of you putting children into a concentration camp are going to go all over social media, and I'll be one of the first people there on a regular basis taking video and showing it to my millions of followers across social media.
And we've already seen examples of that. You guys remember there was the video, I believe it was an immigration attorney who was at one of these detention facilities, who there was like a big protest among the people who are being detained there. And you heard like the screams and the cries and the yelps of the children. And then you had somebody come out and say, oh, you can't record here. You can't record here, to the guy. We played the video on the show. And so, yeah, wake up. Don't ever believe, oh, it can't happen here. It fucking is happening here right now.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
There you go. All right, real fast. Again, as I always say, man, what more can we tell you all? All right, this shit is happening in your face. You know? Real quick, this is Isaiah. All right, Isaiah 42. Bear with me. Isaiah 42:9, it says, behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. So you were warned. All right. You were told of these things. All right. And now they're happening. Now they're coming to pass. All right. Then you should know that a true prophet have been among you. Okay. At the end, the vision will speak, and now we're speaking. You see that? Because it's about to go down. All right. Let me get this real quick. And the Apocrypha. Bear with me. Because what he was saying towards the end, all right, that's 2nd Ezra 15. Okay, once this information continues to expand and get out there, man, eventually people are going to rise up. And how do we know? Because prophecy says so. All right, 2nd Ezra 15. In verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, draweth near. And one people shall stand up and fight against another in swords in their hands. All right, it's definitely going to be civil wars, rebellions, revolutions. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And this is the scenario that we are all waiting for, man. All right. At any day, this shit is gonna hit, and it's gonna be terrible, man. All right. Chaos, destruction, and bodies in the street. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. Right, because what shit being shut down, lockouts, it says, because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men should be afraid. And men shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Again, the great tribulation, the trials, the testing of our faith is upon us, man. All right, Revelation 2:10, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that you may be tried. All right. We got, what was he just talking about? Concentration camps with incinerators inside of them, man. Okay. It says, Revelation 2:10, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So what I'm saying is that, some of us may have to go this route. All right. This is the bitterness of this truth, man. This is the reality of what we're in. And as you heard him say, nobody's exempt. They got everybody marked, man. Oh, you thought just because you didn't have a YouTube handle, you weren't doing videos, you was just liking and subscribing and watching? No, your ass is watched too. You marked too. This is what we're trying to get you to understand. Okay, this is part of the war, the fight that we about to come to, man. The straits that we about to enter into, man. It's not a light thing. This is why we gotta be completely rooted. All right. We have to be fully assured, all right, in our minds as we go through this time, man. You know, that you may be tried, you shall have tribulation 10 days, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Right? Let me get this word tried. You know, that you may be tried. Real quick. So this is the word for tried.
Strong's G 3985. Pyradzo. Pyradzo.
Right? It says to try whether a thing can be done, to attempt, endeavor. Let's go down to the point. Number 3 here. It says to try or test one's faith, virtue, character by enticement to sin. Right? So who's to say you get put into these camps, right? And they'll say, hey, we'll let you free if you take the chip. You know, if you just take this chip, you know, you'll be able to eat, and you know, we'll let you get up out of here. You know, I'm just thinking out loud, you know. So these are part of the trials and temptations, right? It says to try or test one's faith, virtue, character by enticement to sin, to solicit to sin, to tempt of the temptations of the devil, right? Of the Most High, to inflict evils upon one in order to prove his character and in the steadfastness of his faith, right? It says men are said to tempt the Most High by exhibitions of distrust, as though they wish to try whether he is not justly distrusted. All right, the point. So again, we're going to be tried, man. We're going to be tested for our faith, right? This is Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai shall fight for thee. And this is what we believe, man. We're gonna strive unto the truth unto death, no matter what, because we believe that Yahweh Shem Shai is gonna fight for us. He's gonna be with us. All right, as we go through these trials. All right, I believe you said the same thing in something similar in the book of let me get it. It was Luke 21. I believe it was. Let me check real quick. All right, bear with me. Luke 21 and 16. And you shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. All right, it's gonna be great persecution, great trials. All right, people that you may know are going to sell you out, turn you in. You know, verse 17: you should be hated for all men for my name's sake, but there should not a hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. Right. So hey, this is a time of suffering. You know, we got to exercise, you know, patience. We got to exercise endurance. All right. Basically, you got to get your mind right, man. All right, this shit is not a game. You see? Real quick, Sirach 13:12. And it reads, it says, but cruelly he will lay up thy words and will not spare to do thee hurt and to put thee in prison. All right, this is what's getting ready to happen. This is that cruel Lord, right? Concentration camps with incinerators, man. So I was looking up this verse just to get the context. And it was pretty heavy. Let me pull this up. This is from the Chat GPT. Right? Bear with me. So I had this verse pulled up, Sirach 13:12, and I had the Chat GPT to give me the context, right? So it says, Sirach 13 or Ecclesiastes 13:12, but cruelly he will lay up thy words and will not spare thee, and will not spare to do thee hurt and put thee in prison. It says this verse comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, also called Sirach, chapter 13, which warns about the dangers of associating with powerful, wealthy, or oppressive people, right? So it says, going down here, it says the context of chapter 13, it says the danger of close association with the rich or powerful, how unequal relationships can lead to exploitation, the vulnerability of the poor, when dealing with the mighty, right? And this is where we at, you know. It says verses 1 through 11 warn that touching pitch tar will defile you, meaning corrupt company corrupts character. The rich can manipulate or use the poor. Powerful men may smile in your face, but secretly watch and test your words. And how much more us? You know, Wisdom of Solomon actually goes into that. The second chapter, we'll get that too, right? Verse 12, he will lay up thy words. This means a powerful or corrupt person will store your words in memory, right? Hence, they have the all these videos are categorized. They got them all, you know, tucked away off in the cloud somewhere. All right, everything that was said, everything that was brought out, they got it all in the archives, man. You know, this is a powerful or corrupt person will store your words in memory, waiting for the right moment. All right, is that not what we just heard in the video? Okay, no matter what you believe in, and if you're anti-government, anti-establishment, anti-American, and anti-Trump, and all of that, man, they got it all stored away. They know who's who, and they're waiting for the right moment. It says they may twist or use your statements against them, as they always do. For anybody that's actually been to the into the court of law, right? That's what they do in Esau's system. They'll twist your words all the way up, man, to try to find you guilty. It says it will not spare to do thee hurt and to put thee in prison. This implies if you offend or cross them, they may retaliate harshly. Whoo, see? All right. Concentration camps. All right. You got the ICE units. Okay. The right-wing militia groups. Right. This is their way of retaliate, fighting back. Coming against those that's coming against him. All right. If you cross them, they may retaliate harshly. It says they have power to bring legal or social consequences against you. See? And what is he going to do? He's going to use the system to come down on you. You said this, you said that. We got record of you doing this and claiming that. And, you know, overall theme. Yeah, that's the point. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to bring out. That's pretty heavy, man, because this is what's going on now. Right? Wisdom of Solomon, before we close, right? Wisdom of Solomon, let's get that. Start at verse Wisdom of Solomon 2, and we'll start at verse 13. Start at 12. All right, this is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 12. It says, therefore, let us lie and wait for the righteous. All right, and then when you read this chapter, it's actually going into the elites, man. Okay, the top of the wicked. Okay, therefore let us lie and wait for the righteous, because Salakia. Therefore let us lie and wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. Right? Verse 13, he professes to have the knowledge of the Most High. He calleth himself the child of the Lord. All right, pursuant to Isaiah 44. Okay, verses 5 and 6. One shall surname himself by the name of Jacob, the other by the name of Israel. You know, verse 14, he was made to reprove our thoughts. All right. What's that? Psalm 50 and 1. All right. The Lord shall set them in order right before their eyes. Let me get that real quick. Psalm 50 and 21. These things hast thou done, and I have kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee. Right? And Esau, he's being reproved by the prophets, man. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thy eyes. You see that? You know, going back to the awakening and the Lord raising up his men, raising up the prophets in these last days. All right, Obadiah 1 and 21. All right, the Lord said that he would raise up saviors upon the mount of Esau, man, to judge the mount of Esau. Okay, that's the prophets that he set in order that are reproving him. Okay. Back in Wisdom of Solomon 2:15, he is grievous unto us even to behold, right? The us being at the these videos that are going out, us out there on the highways and hedges. Okay, these videos that go up day in and day out. All right, it's grievous unto the wicked to see us, man, prophesying, declaring his downfall to his face. You know, it says he is grievous. He is grievous unto us even to behold, for his life is not like other men's, his ways are of another fashion, right? Because we are the people of the Most High. Okay. It says we are esteemed to him as counterfeits, all right? Counterfeits, frauds. All right. Tiny tops. Okay. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounces the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father. See the point, verse 17. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. All right, because this is the time of what? Of the trial, the testing, man. For if the just man be the son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. You see that? Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. You see that? So this is what these camps and these trials are for. Okay, this is what we're getting ready to enter into. You know, let's go back. Wisdom of Solomon 2:19. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with the shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them, man. Because they're not gonna get all of us, man. Okay, not all of the Lord's elect are gonna suffer death, man. All right, Yahushua said that there be some that be standing here that shall not taste of death. All right, but consider, and what could potentially happen. All right, but we're gonna go on this thing with confidence, man, with trusting Yahweh Shem Yahushua that he's gonna deliver. Real quick, my computer moving a little slow. Salakia. What was that one? Was it Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter? Right. Because a lot of these things, as we learn, a lot of these things are really for the wicked of our people, man. But I just wanted to go through that just to show you that, hey, some of us may very well be martyrs for the truth, for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You can't dismiss that. Just providing balance. Wisdom of Solomon 3:1, it says, but the souls of the righteous are in the hand of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and there shall no torment touch them. You see that? And there shall no torment touch them. Okay? So again, you have the elect that's also going to be delivered, that are not going to go through these trials. They're going to be spared. There'll be some that be standing here that should not taste of death. So I just wanted to put that out there, man. Just the the severity of what's going on. Okay, the times that we live in right now. All right, shit is not a game. You see that? So yeah, we'll leave it right there. That's pretty much all I had there. Just wanted to put that out there, man. Trump's concentration camps built incinerators, man. All right, understand what you're involved in. Shalom.